Hello everybody, my name is Colton Oliver. I'm going to be doing a video today to go over some of the functional communication tools used for American Sign Language. In the video I'll talk about sort of the best practices for teaching sign, using sign to communicate, which learners are best used for sign, and how to start teaching your students or people in your community sign language. Right now, sign language is hugely beneficial because it pairs motor movements with written words and language. Also, each sign has different meanings for each word. So unlike like a PEC system or maybe an app on your iPad, the same motions could mean different words, different phrases, all kinds of things, but you're still hitting buttons or exchanging pictures. With sign, you know, water looks very different from more, from all done, from food. So you have all these different signs that correlate to different words. So it's hugely beneficial for learners so they don't get confused easily and they tend to pick it up more. Also, it pairs sign language with those gross motor movements like we talked about. So learners pick it up quicker because they're incorporating their body movements into it. It would be like acting out everything that you were talking and saying with your words. You'd pick up those words a lot faster because they're tied to your motor cortex. And when you activate those two things, you start learning a little bit quicker. Lastly, one of the bigger benefits of sign language is that it's visual in nature as well. So when I say water, you hear water. I'm pairing my motor movements with water, but you also see the sign for water. So you get three forms of stimulus there, and it altogether makes up American Sign Language. So water, more, all done, food, things like that, candy. So those are some of the benefits of American Sign Language. I recommend using this form of communication for anybody that has a lot of success with their gross and fine motor movements. There's a lot of fine motor movements involved with signs, so whether that's stand up or counting, anything like that would require a fine motor. And then there's also gross motor movements as well. So all done, more, those are all gross motor movements. So anybody that's demonstrating skills in those two areas is probably a pretty good candidate for sign, especially if they're just not a kid that is gonna, you know, carry around their talker or carry around their PEC system with them all the time. Maybe they're a really active kid and they just can't be scootering, playing with a bunch of other kids and using their talker. It's just not gonna work. They can use sign language as a way to start communicating with people. Another really beneficial population that this is used for are all of your learners that are active and are mobile and do want to, you know, use their bodies when they're communicating with you. You can get them to do a lot of fun, like motor imitation movements to get sign and to get some of the things that they want. Lastly, some of the tips that I've learned trying to teach sign are to start with graduated guidance. So you might do a hand over hand where you take their hand and you airlessly prompt like water, and then they automatically get that thing that they're signing for. So you start off really airlessly, you're teaching really, really good, and then they get that thing that they want as sort of like a man training. They get that item that they've requested immediately following the sign. Once they've kind of demonstrated like, okay, this sign means I get water, then you start fading your prompts. So you would gradually like loosen the amount of prompts that you're using to get the sign water and gradually shaping towards that independent response of water. Another thing that would be very beneficial for them is pairing those stimulus with things that are coming. So if they need help, they man for help and they get help for that thing. If they need water, boom, they get water as soon as they are manning for that sign. It will increase the rate in which your learner is picking up some of these sign languages and incorporating them and using them independently and also in the natural environment. So that's American Sign Language. It's one of my preferred methods of teaching learners with autism, learners on the spectrum, how to communicate, especially those, you know, those active, more high-paced kids. It's a great tool to learn.